Yes, people, welcome back to Let's Talk Premier League. We're here for a little bit of F1, a little bit of Let's Talk F1. I'm joined by Chris, as always. Chris, how are we doing, mate?
Well, I wouldn't say it's always, but yeah, not in recent times. But yeah, it's just my usual self, as everyone knows, mate.
Yeah, it's been an interesting weekend, really, of action. We'll start as always with qualifying and then work our way through the weekend. Obviously we didn't do a watch along because my throat would not handle it at all. Peter says always good to see these F1 streams. Good to see the main man himself, Chris, back. Absolutely. Dylan says Mazepin robbed. There's not a lot that gets me speechless, but I think you have just found something.
Move on from that comment.
Yeah, I think you've just got something that has made me speechless. No, look, in terms of going into the weekend, I think everyone knew that this hadn't been a Mercedes-dominated track for some time. I think Ferrari, back when Vettel and Hamilton were fighting for titles, I think Ferrari had quite a good record at Mexico.
Yeah.
Max himself had a very good record at Mexico with 2 wins. Lewis had got 2 wins, but when you got the best car, you do expect to pick up a couple of wins here and there. Not being sarcastic at all. But in terms of this weekend, I think everyone knew that the Mercedes weren't quite going to be on it. But what were your thoughts going into the weekend? Because mine were very much, this is advantage Max. I thought Max himself had been very good previously to this. I did think Max was the favourite going into the weekend. But what were your thoughts going into the weekend?
Yeah, I thought going into the weekend it was going to be Red Bull. Red Bull would suit this track, but I said that recently about the same thing about Mercedes. Mercedes won whole tracks recently, and then look what happened. And I mean, it was mostly a Red Bull track. Obviously, Mercedes have had race wins there, but not as many as Red Bull, for example. But yeah, I mean, like most parts of the track obviously suited Red Bull, and obviously I was a bit shocked with qualifying, but we'll get on to that.
Yeah, you mentioned the track. I mean, most of it does, apart from that fat-ass long straight down from the exit of the last corner into the start of the first corner. I mean, that definitely does not suit Red Bull. Although apparently the engine is starting to look really bloody good. Dylan says Max made him drink water with hidden sleeping pills in. Disgraceful for Max. He always cheats. Lewis should be given the win for this weekend. I would say you're starting to sound like a certain someone from a certain certain channel, but you haven't told Bottas to kill himself yet. So I suppose you're definitely not on that level as of
Madness.
yet. Uh,
Absolute madness. That comment.
yeah,
That comment from a certain person.
Yeah, it was it was it was an interesting comment for sure. Not one that I think I would ever use. I don't think. At least I hope I'd never use it.
And have you
But
seen
no,
and have you seen the latest photo of Bottas? He's just sitting there with his
he is.
with his yard.
And do you know what? We'll talk more about the race and why I think Bottas is sort of going, it's cute. I'm not just loading something up, but it's why I would have why I've been lagging for a little bit there. But Chris, talk to me about qualifying. Everyone expected Red Bull to get 1 and 2. Some reason I always had an inkling that I was like, they might not want to. They might not want to get 1 and 2 here. But they were taping their rear wing. Something wasn't going right for them. And Mercedes end up with a 1-2 in terms of pole and second, but it was Bottas that ended up with pole. So Lewis really isn't that good after all.
Yeah, it was a bit strange qualifying. Like, obviously, didn't expect Mercedes to be 1 and 2, but in the end, the more I thought about it, I thought, well, Red Bull shouldn't we be too disappointed? Because saw about the way start, of course, and
Yeah.
especially when you're on the front row of Mexico in recent times, even when you're on pole, not many drivers have won from pole in Mexico. It's always been second or third or wherever you start on the. Obviously, second or third or fourth, one of the two. It's because I just thought it's all about the race start, really, and I thought even Verstappen, even when he qualified third, I was always confident in his chances. Because you're behind Bottas, and it's all about the race start, really, and obviously we got onto the race.
And we know Max has got good race starts in him. We know he's not too shabby at it.
You'd rather qualify second, but I think third's not too bad either, especially on Mexico.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not. But Perez was right up there. He was fourth. I think he was slightly disappointed on the first front row with Max. What did you make of Sergio Perez in qualifying? I thought he was actually quite good, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a solid qualifying from him. I think obviously the letdown was, as Christian Horner says, Tsunoda.
What was Yuki Tsunoda doing, especially when he's got to take a grid penalty? What in God's green earth was Yuki Tsunoda thinking? That he's got to take a grid penalty anyway. So what in God's green earth was that boy thinking? Can someone help me here? Because I'm perplexed.
I think Tsunoda cost Verstappen as well, if I'm being honest. His time.
I don't think I don't think there's a think about it. I think he did cost Max his time. Max wasn't too happy.
Obviously, not just Perez. Apparently, cost Verstappen as well.
Yeah. Well, apparently, Helmut Marko went down there and had a, shall I say, conversation. Now, I don't know if I'd be too excited to have that conversation with Helmut Marko, because I don't think he's going to be awfully happy. The convertible says biggest Fords in F1 history: Crash Stappen, Pen Stappen, Ford Stappen, Bottle Stappen, Bum Stappen, Ghost Stappen, Crystal Appen, DNF Stappen, Cop Stappen, and MILF Stappen. Okay, I think we have someone who doesn't like Max. I thought he was solid to say he was using Max's broken wing. Well, I think they were both using broken wings, weren't they? Big up to RJ. Big up to RJ. Didn't cost either of them. They were both down on their times. Well, that's actually a lie. Max was up on his time by, was it 200ths of a second? Or I don't know. He certainly
Didn't
won two.
listen to Max Verstappen's team radio, where
Yeah.
he said, I think he said that idiot. Means an order.
He cost Max pole, but I think in the grand scheme of things, getting pole around Mexico is probably not the pace you want to be. But then, obviously, the all-important race. Max Verstappen in third, Sergio Perez in fourth, Bottas first, Hamilton second. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I'll tell you what could go wrong. Bottas could accidentally get a little bit of a slow start, which he's prone to doing. Allow Max Verstappen to basically get behind him and get a lovely toe down the back down the straight. Then Bottas could accidentally leave the door open down the racing line to allow Max Verstappen to brake a little bit later, whilst Bottas is accidentally defending off Lewis Hamilton, when in actual fact he probably should be defending off Max Verstappen, which allows Max Verstappen to take Lewis and Bottas in the first corner and never to be caught again. Chris, does that sound similar to what happened?
Spot on.
What were your thoughts on the start? Because it was in the grand scheme of did that help Lewis, I think it's probably fair to say no.
I think he must have got his Bottas must have got his mirrors messed up. Yeah, in one mirror, in the old mirrors, you probably thought Verstappen was on his where Hamilton was, but indeed he wasn't. And
No,
Verstappen,
indeed.
Verstappen, just a usual start from him, off to a great start, to get off the line, perfectly. Bottas, well, it's Bottas where he's prone to that. And
that's the thing. Everyone obviously, you got Lewis and boys that are going after Bottas now, which should be cute and adorable. But can anyone really honestly sit here and tell me that Valtteri Bottas has never had a bad start? Can anyone honestly tell me that? Because and even when Bottas wasn't even under pressure, even when Bottas has been at his best, he's always had bad starts. I can't remember a time where Valtteri Bottas has had an amazing start, apart from Austria. It was a couple of years ago where he just got spot on. Let's just quickly go through some comments before we go back to that start, because as I said, there was a lot to talk about. Lewis sucks, says Zachary. I couldn't possibly comment on that. Couldn't possibly comment. Big up to Russ. Fingers crossed, eh? Fingers crossed for what? That Max dominates Lewis. That happens all the time. What's the crack, bro? TV off after first corner. Evening all. Evening Russ. Evening. Sprint weekend, boys. The inevitable collision is coming. See, that is if Lewis can catch Max for the inevitable collision.
Yeah.
Because we are in Brazil, but we'll get into that. But in terms of that start, can anyone tell me, can you sit here and tell me that Bottas gets great starts all the time? Like, so I couldn't tell you that.
No, neither can I. Maybe he is better off at Alfa Romeo after all.
Yeah, maybe you never know. But in terms of what is being said about Valtteri, which is that he's the disgrace of a driver, some people from a certain other channel are saying that they're going to go and kill him. I'd like to see you try. But really, Yeah. What's your thoughts on what's being said to him? Because I think it's a little harsh.
A bit harsh, were you? Because if you're being if you're being honest, Verstappen and Hamilton are always going to be quicker than
Hmm.
Bottas, and
Yeah.
that proved it by the way start.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really too shocked by the way start.
Are you
And
surprised that Lewis and Toto have sort of gone in as well? Sort of Lewis saying, um, what did Lewis say? It was something about had no hope after what Bottas did, and Toto was like, yeah,
yeah,
that's
he
not
had the day
quite.
open. He said,
Yeah, and Toto was like, yeah, that's not quite how we had it planned or envisioned or something. But both of them sort of pinning the blame on Bottas. I suppose this is a danger of what happens when you tell your second driver that you're going to dump him out of the team for his replacement next season. So maybe Bottas's lack of give a shit is probably going to harm Lewis in the title race now.
"Define." It's unbelievable, defining moment.
The defining moment is Valtteri Bottas has decided to defend Lewis Hamilton in terms of defend against him and just allow allow Max Verstappen to go flying through into the first corner. Jobs are good and thank you. See you later, boys.
I mean,
And
it
then
could go two ways, couldn't it? Yeah, because Bottas already announced, obviously, he's leaving to join Alfa Romeo. He could either I thought he would help his teammate out, but then the other thing happened where there's no pressure on him to do anything. So I just thought, yeah, just see this season out. Don't
well,
care what's happened.
he's probably thinking I could try and get a race win here, boys. Like, and we've already seen that he's a bit like this now. Because do you not remember Zandvoort where he was going for a fastest lap, and they're like, Valtteri, stop, slow down, Valtteri, this is James. I need you to slow the fuck down now. Even
And
Toto
he's
jumped on the radio. It was like I think we've all seen this moment coming.
and he won in and obviously he won in Turkey as well.
Well, yeah, but that actually helped Mercedes because what Bottas could have done if he didn't really give a shit was just go fuck it, Max. Have a little have a little have a little wander past me. I'm sure you'll love the view. But now Valtteri probably thinking, now race win, I'll take another one of them. Probably gets a bonus. I don't know if he gets a bonus for Lewis winning the title.
I think Bottas. I think Bottas focusing on the constructors. He's not bothered about Verstappen and Hamilton try for his title race.
I'd argue he probably isn't giving too much of a shit about that either, because he sort of got turned around like a merry-go-round in corner one as well. The convertible says Bottas stinks. But no, in terms of who clipped him, it was Ricardo, wasn't it? Danny Rick
Ricardo.
decided.
It's Red Bull. Typical.
Yeah. Who saw that one coming as well? There are a few people that do not really want Mercedes or Lewis winning this. One is Fernando Alonso, and well, Red Bull have got a few helpers on there. You got Carlos Sainz, although I'm not sure how that relationship went. I think that might have went a bit sour, but Danny Rick likes Max, doesn't he? Defended Max after Italy. So there's a few friends for
Charles
Max.
Leclerc wants Verstappen to win as well.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc is a Max mate. He's mates with Max. Lando Norris is in and this actually makes it even funnier. Lando and Danny Rick probably both want Max to win, but they're powered by a Mercedes engine. You couldn't write this shit. You just couldn't write this shit. A Mercedes powered engine has turned one of the Mercedes around like a merry-go-round. Could you imagine the conversation between Toto Wolff and Zach Brown if that was Lewis Hamilton that was turned around like a merry-go-round? Oh my lord, that would not have been a conversation that Zach Brown would be looking forward to be having.
That'll be on Try to Survive. That.
Oh, you'd just have Sky Sports going now. Oh, there's Zach Brown getting punched by Toto. Oh dear. Put the camera on it. If you're under the age of 18, there's a boxing match going on now. Oh, Zach's kicked Toto in the balls. Oh dear. Oh, Toto's down. Someone help Toto.
Don't think it'd be like that. It'd be like Christian Horner and Cyril from Renault.
That was a good rivalry. But what did you make of Danny Rick? He didn't really have anywhere to go, did he? In terms of hitting Valtteri.
No, didn't do anything wrong in my opinion. He just Ricardo put and Bottas unfortunately just turned, and Ricardo kept him. I mean, Ricardo can't put either first, can he? He's too he's poor. And
what a comment! Ricardo can't bloody reverse, can he?
Because that would have been chaos, wouldn't it? Driving reverse and Kimi Räikkönen having a team radio moment.
Kimi would have had more than a sort of moment like that. He would have completely lost his shit. To put that politely. I've just remembered we have got Formula One qualifying this week. Starts on a Friday. Starts on Friday with qualifying. 7 p.m. start though, so that's not too bad. Sprint races between 7:30 and 8. I might be back up. My dad wants to take me for dinner, but I have to pay. It's one of them situations. My dad wants to take me to dinner, but I have to pay. You work that one out. But I get to see my little sister, which I don't mind her because she's not too grubby. It's the brothers that I dislike. He was like, you can meet, you can come meet, not meet, not meet for the first time. Come see your brother. I was like, I'd rather not. He's a little irritating cunt. Then he irritated my dad, so he was like, yeah, I'll just leave. I won't invite him. I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. But enough of my family. Love that bit. But yeah, we might not make the sprint race. We might not. It really depends on what time I get back. But I'll have the stream ready, prepped to go. All of that if I am back in time. And then the race, I am definitely here for the race because I don't think I'm even at work. No, I don't think I will be. So yeah, we're gonna have an interesting race. I don't know if Brazil is gonna decide the title. I think if I'm saying it quietly, I think the title may have already been decided, but that's very quietly. But
for me, Verstappen's got one hand on the trophy already.
What did you make of just the race? Obviously, we spent a lot of time talking about the start, turn one, because that really was the exciting bit. But as the race went on, Max was never getting caught. That was clearly evident. That was never going to happen. But I think the interesting part of the race is Russ is probably in agreement that Max looks like he might be winning. But what I thought was quite interesting was how close Sergio Perez was to Lewis Hamilton. What do you think that was about? Do you think that was just Sergio is finally learning the car? Because I think I heard it somewhere that Sergio Perez had said that he is learning the car more. He's learning how Max drives it, and now he's getting quicker. And it's like, has any other driver done that? Has any other driver gone, okay, how does Max drive this? I'll drive it the same way. And I'm probably thinking no, because none of them are going to be experienced enough at dealing with that crap. In terms of Pierre Gasly wouldn't have been like that. Danny Rick probably could have, but I think Danny Rick wanted to leave to try and be a number one driver. Ended up being a second driver at McLaren, or quite equal status, I think, is probably what McLaren do.
I personally think Ricardo's second at McLaren.
Do you think? I think they're equal status, a bit like Sainz and Nando was. I think they're just equal at the moment. I don't really see the one of them really leading the team. I think they both do it in a way. I think as McLaren get better, I think they'll identify a number one. But I don't necessarily think you need to identify a number one in the position they're in, which is sometimes we'll get the race win, sometimes we'll do all right, sometimes we won't. It's sort of like they're not a midfield team, but they're not a top team. They're sort of like in that gap, aren't they?
Yeah, and see why it is McLaren versus Ferrari for third, because both teams are similar. Some races they're doing well, but then other races they won't.
But
And I think
Perez,
Ferrari and Ferrari got same. I think you could say it's Charles Leclerc number one at Ferrari. I think
100%.
I think he is. But Carlos Sainz is obviously giving them. He's obviously giving them a battle for drivers and driver standings.
You don't really need to. And the interesting bit is you don't really need to have a number 1 and 2 driver where they are, as I said, in the position they're in. I don't think you need them. It's only as you're starting to fight for title. Like Sergio is definitely number 2 at Red Bull, and Bottas is definitely number 2 at Mercedes.
Just look at Vettel and Webber when Red Bull were dominating for 4 years. Well, there were some moments, but
I was just about to say I don't think Mark Webber quite took to the number 2 driver too well. He definitely made some comments. For example, when he won at Silverstone, going not bad for a number 2 driver after he had his front wing taken off him and put onto Vettel's car. But that's a different story, and we may look at some of the historical moments when the season is over. Although saying that, that's normally when football really kicks into having a great time. So you never know.
But in terms of
back to the race, absolutely. In terms of Sergio Perez, he was a lot closer to Max Verstappen. He was closer to Max as well, but he was right on the back of Lewis Hamilton, which Lewis did make comment of. And look, he went, when the Red Bulls are fast, even when Checo Perez is on your back. And I was like, wow, okay. You're going to be a dick today. Right. Okay. So Hamilton woke up and chose violence. I thought that was a bit harsh. The convertible says Albon clear of Bumstappen. Love it. Lewis has to win every single race to have a full shot to win the championship.
And that's a Lewis Hamilton fan.
Clearly, you watched the F1 show that I did with Charles. When I said this. So congratulations. Sup now, how you doing? I'm not too bad. Also, big up Chris. Absolutely. Albon over Verstappen. How do you think Russell will do at Mercedes next year with Lewis Hamilton? Yeah. Well, that is probably that will probably be a discussion that we have next season when we do preseason testing. And do all the build up and all of that, because we will do an end of season review. Of course, I'm not there, Max, mate. Love that, Russ. Love that. But in terms of the comment from Lewis, bit of a condescending little motherfucker, isn't he? Well, when I say condescending, just a bit of an ass. You could have just said Sergio Perez it's his home race. He was really energetic. He's a fantastic driver who was right there. And then but he decided to say, when the Red Bulls are quick, even Checo Perez is behind me. It's like, okay, bit of a cunt.
And what that's me after the race, he's pretty hugging them. Fist pumping them, saying, and in his interview, he was Hamilton after the match saying, "I respect Perez a lot." Fuck it. Oh yeah, you were saying that during the race, weren't you? I mean,
I just thought his interview was outstanding, really shocking. I look, I'm not much of a fan of Lewis Hamilton on the best of days, let alone if he ever wins a race. Jesus, every time he wins a race, I feel like going to get rope and hanging myself.
Yeah, but whenever it doesn't go your Hamilton's way, he always mourns and groans and.
Yeah. Do you know what I've become, because he's done it so much, it no longer annoys me because I barely even listen to him anymore. I'm like, that's cute. I just listened to it quite well. I listened to him like in his interview, and I'm like, bloody hell.
I mean, the worst door one for Daniel Ricciardo, and Daniel Ricciardo said, "Yeah, okay, that's my fault."
What, Lewis Hamilton ever to take responsibility? Now you are clearly on the clouds, mate. You are in the clouds.
No, I mean Daniel Ricciardo said that.
I was just about
Whenever a
to
race door's
say,
won for him, he
yeah,
either claims on himself and takes responsibility.
yeah. I thought
Which I
you
don't
said
see.
that. I thought you said
But
that about Lewis Hamilton. I was just about to say, Chris, are you feeling
no
all right, mate?
chance. No chance. It's either the team or it's Bottas' fault.
Or the
Never his
tires,
fault.
or the tires,
Or the tyres' fault. Or the car's fault.
or Max. Max is anyone but himself. But Perez had a good race though, didn't he? Almost got second, almost.
Yeah. He had a good race, Perez, and you can probably see he is obviously getting settled in
Yeah,
at Red Bull even more now. This is
yeah.
probably a dangerous proposition even for next season as well. If Perez getting settled in.
Well, yeah. I mean, everyone sort of looked at this move and was like, it was really the first time that Red Bull had hired from outside. Normally,
Yeah.
every driver comes through their academy, don't they? In terms of Toro Rosso, and everyone was like, "Oh, Pierre Gasly should definitely have that seat back." And I was probably one of them, although I'm not sure I ever want to see Pierre Gasly back in the Red Bull.
I said Perez should do it when it all first happened.
Yeah. I wasn't against Perez having it, of course, but I was like, it really is. But then, sort of, I've been thinking about it over the season, and the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Because Perez is experienced. He's a very experienced driver. He's been there, done it, got the sticker, been an F1 for a long, long time now.
He's more experienced than obviously when Dazzy and Albon first took the seat at Red Bull.
Exactly, and I also think that has helped because, as I say, him saying, "How does Max drive this car? I'll just drive it that way." I don't think any other driver has done that because you can clearly see no other driver's ever got anywhere near Max Verstappen. Now, I'm not about to say Sergio Perez is anywhere near Max Verstappen because he's just not. There's not many drivers that are. But in terms of getting the pace out of that Red Bull, Perez towards the back end of the season has looked very strong. Now, if Red Bull, obviously, because Honda are leaving, can develop that engine well enough, I think they're already bringing in the staff to do that because they're going to basically do the engine themselves. Then, this could potentially be quite an interesting next season because, right as you said, this isn't by any means a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, exactly, and
we got rule changes next year.
Yeah, as well. Rule changes. Obviously, had a look into them. Obviously, it's going to be completely different to this season.
100%.
I think there's one thing that's the same. I think it's the fuel thing. Something.
Everything pretty much. There's not many parts of this year's car that is going to be suitable for next year's car.
But Perez is probably same level as Bottas at Mercedes, but even better.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair to say that. They scream number two drivers, but they're two really good number two drivers.
They are basically Perez basically which too good for mid-table teams, like Racing Point, for example.
Yeah, and he's a fantastic number two. He puts the team first, and you can also see how much Sergio and Max get on. How sort of Max has embraced Sergio into the team because I think Max now knows. Look, I've got someone who can help me now. Because Max has been fighting the Mercs by himself for God knows how long now. That boy looks like he's up there going, "Am I going to get any help today?" Oh, fuck off, you wankers! Right, okay, yeah, Christian, tell Alex he's an absolute wanker from me, or something along them lines. Max says, "I'm changing liaisons to Max Verstappen 33, if not Lando or Russell." Well, you shouldn't change. I love Max. I like Charles. I like Lando, and I like Russell. There you go. That's what I do. But I am definitely Red Bull and McLaren. You might be a good driver, to be fair. I don't know. In terms of Russ, Lewis taking lessons from Klopp. Yeah, you could certainly say that. Al Goat is clear of Perez. I'm not sure I agree with that. One of them still in F1. Liam says, "Hi, bro. Hope you're well." Absolutely. But before we wrap up, your driver of the weekend, something new. We're gonna actually have driver ratings in Brazil, so tune in for that for the next checkered flag show, if I can put my teeth back in. But yeah, who was your driver of the weekend?
I mean, there were a few standouts, to be fair. Lando Norris starting from backward, getting into the points, which was expected. But with the way it went for Bottas and Ricardo, it wasn't thought and confusing. I thought Vettel got his strategy spot on. He had a solid works. But I do want to give it to Verstappen just because of the way, even though it was a Red Bull track. But I mean, there's quite a few. It could be driver of the day. Got Perez.
No, driver of the weekend, not driver of the day. I don't want F1 seeing this and shutting me down, so I'm using driver of the weekend, not driver of the day.
Weekend.
Yeah, I'll help you. I'm giving mine to Bottas purely for that turn one. Turn one. I thought that was the best. I thought he did exactly the right thing in turn one, believe it or not. So I'm giving it a Valtteri. And he got pole.
But then you got Perez as well.
Yeah, Gazzy's always good.
Yeah, I'm doing it to Perez too. But
right, so one for Pierre Gasly, and I'm giving mine to Valtteri Bottas. That'll be the first time, and maybe the only time I ever give my driver of the weekend to the Mercedes.
I think Perez he's got better since he left Red Bull. I've said it many times. He's underrated as well.
Yeah,
and to qualify P4 as well. Well, he wasn't P4. I mean, to get in P4 at the end of the race.
I mean, Pierre Gasly is such an insane driver. I think he will have to leave Alpha Tauri at some point. But then I'm looking at the big teams. I'm like, Mercs are full, won't go back to Red Bull. Ferrari are full. McLaren are full. Unless, how old is Danny Rick? How old is he?
Oh,
he's in his 30s, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in his 30s.
31?
Just about that, doesn't he? About 31.
Yeah, maybe 2 more years with McLaren for Danny Rick, and then maybe Pierre Gasly takes a McLaren spot.
That's going to be a solid partnership, isn't it? Norris and Garcia and McLaren.
Yeah, talking of lineups to make you shit yourself. That probably is one of them. But also, let's go through some comments before we decide who is team of the weekend, which I think we both know who that's going to be, but just to double check. Albon will win the World Drivers' Championship next year. Oh, what, in that World Championship winning Williams? And I like Williams, mind you. Gazzy, in my opinion, is Jeddah ever going to happen? Even going to happen? Jeddah? What's Jeddah? Is that a track we're going to? Or meant to be going to? Any ideas, Chris?
Yeah, it is a track.
Where?
Is it Vietnam? That's always...
Oh, yeah, it could be Vietnam. No. Well, I made, as I say, over the winter break, I may do a few sort of F1
Oh,
videos
Saudi
that.
Arabia. Yeah, we're done to
Oh
Saudi
yeah,
Arabia.
that's happening. Yeah, Jeddah is happening this season, mate. That's happening. It's not this race, not the next race. It's race out. It's just before Abu Dhabi. Just before
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi. So yeah. That well, I believe it's happening. I haven't heard anything other than other than it's going ahead on according to F1.
Should be
Now
happening.
have you seen the track though? No. Do I need to Google this?
Oh, yeah, there was rumours that it's nowhere near finished. It said it in comments.
Jeddah F1 track progress.
Oh, it doesn't have an Australia situation, now we.
So, right. So on the 31st, miraculous progress for fast track Jeddah build. A company carrying out the construction of Jeddah circuit in Saudi Arabia reports that there has been miraculous progress on the project over recent weeks. F1 is set to make its debut in the country in December, with local organisers having to produce a brand new venue in just 8 months compared to the usual turnaround time of a year and a half. Tyke Engineering designed the street circuit with Bahrain-based MRK1 Consulting also involved in the operation of the new track. From my experience and from having worked on projects, Bahrain was built in 16 months, Abu Dhabi was built in 18 months. MRK1 Managing Director Mark Hughes told racefans.net this week, we built the track in Thailand from groundbreaking in our first event was 12 months. That was another Tile project. Tyke's experience fast track projects is quite exceptional. I think construction started on the 1st of April in Jeddah and the race is in December. That is significantly condensed time frame. But what they've managed to achieve over the last few weeks is miraculous. He stated when asked about the latest project's 18-month schedule. The plan is the race will happen on the 5th of December. That will go ahead, and I believe it will. From the progress I've seen, I've got no reason to doubt it. Formula One representatives have been to inspect the construction work with FIA race director Michael Massey due to visit this week. So he would already have done that. To make the project possible, the temporary layout is being built in an extension to Jeddah's waterfront, with the new roads not being open for public use until after next year's race in March. It's a series of two roads that run parallel along the coastline. Hughes explained one lane takes you north, then you get to a roundabout and come back and go south. That runs along the whole of Jeddah city, and it's an extension of that effectively. So that will join the existing road network. All the barriers that are there can come out. They're all temporary concrete barriers with sections of fencing. That track can be reverted back to a public highway after the event. The authorities have said, okay, we will leave everything in place between December, between the first and second race, which makes absolute sense. He continued, citing the cost of taking everything out, storing and putting it back. You'd have to start rebuilding it almost as soon as you've demolished it. He added, so in long term, it will be highways. In the infield, there are things like a five-a-side football pitch and baseball courts and things. So it's very much a sports and leisure zone. There are cafes and restaurants that are being built on the water side. It will be an extension of the existing. So by the sounds of it, according to racenet.com, it's absolutely fine. They should be ready for it. No problem at all.
Just what I expected.
Yeah. Who do you think will take Hamilton's seat when he retires?
Bottas.
Well, I think naturally George will become the number one, and then I don't know, maybe a Stoffel Van Dorn comes back, maybe De Vries gets it from obviously his work over him with Mercedes in Formula E, or maybe a different new upcoming driver from the Mercedes Driver Academy. I'm sure there are loads. in F2 and
It's going
F3,
to be
and
one of them, isn't it?
yeah, one guy that I would keep your eyes out. He's with the Alpine Driver Academy. Is Zane Maloney. Keep your eyes out peeled for him, because Zane Maloney is actually one that I was able to watch last year, not last year, year before that in
Yeah,
Formula
yeah,
4.
before.
And a very good driver is Zane Maloney. So
Agreed.
keep your eyes out for Zane, one that I think will make it to Formula One. Big up to DC. Homework kind of shit, not gonna lie. No, I never liked homework. Nowhere near finished. USA versus Brazil tomorrow, under 18s. Malik Sonongo gonna be there. He's our 17-year-old striker, just named in the Guardian's Next Gen Footballers. Nice. Zachary just casually flexing with some of his youth players in America. But quickly before we wrap up, Chris, team of the weekend, it's got to be Red Bull, surely.
Hearts. No, I'm joking. Red Bull.
Do you want to explain why you chose Haas? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, Red Bull, obviously, and just like most races, getting the strategy spot on.
Just quickly, I feel for Mick Schumacher, because he brought his family over, and I think even Michael's agent was there. He
got a DNF as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he got a DNF. Mate, he was dumped out after the third corner. Mad. Zachary says 3 Philadelphians in the squad. Love to see it.
If Mick Schumacher wasn't contracted at Haas for next year, Alfa Romeo would have been a shout.
Yeah. I bet he's like, I should have just signed a 1-year contract. But no, obviously he couldn't do that. But no, no, I think that is where we're going to wrap up. I have got to go and do an Argyle podcast with You Got It. Yeah, this one, Liam. Make sure to check out the Argyle podcast tomorrow. It's being recorded tonight. Amazing support on the last episode. It's now on 5.2k. Yes, we are getting a lot of love over on the Football Fan app. Make It Ugly. We just signed a new coach for it this week and practice once before playing Brazil, who are favourites for the Youth World Cup. Yep. Well, Zach, America getting ugly could never happen. You're all too beautiful in your own way, especially Donald Trump. All hail the Trump. I know how that's just come across. All I need to start doing is loving Boris Johnson, and I'm a far right extremist. I'm joking. I'm joking.
You just, I know even that people on your Twitter know.
But no, do you know what? I was thinking, right? When the UK do our elections, I might do a Let's Talk Premier League special watch along where we just absolutely. I quite like my politics, but it'd be quite an interesting watch along of the election results overnight. That would be an interesting one. Red wave incoming from 2026. Crikey. Wouldn't it be Trump 2024? Don't you have your? Pretty sure you have your elections every 4 years, Zachary.
Yeah, it's every 5.
Every 4 years, last one was, and your last one was 2020. Zachary.
Well, we all know how that panned out.
Unless Trump's planning on doing midterms for 2026, maybe he's applying to be. Maybe he's applying to be Congress, or I don't know, in the Senate. Maybe. Yeah, you're right. True. Zachary, I'm going to ask, how does a UK citizen know your next election day more than you? Is it? I'm guessing it's early morning in actually no excuses, because I'm on America time clock anyway. My body clock at the moment is currently on the same clock as Las Vegas, so a party night. But yeah, I have got to wrap up. Before you go, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I've really enjoyed this checkered flag show. As you can see, we have checkered flags. 2:30. Oh, it's 2:30. Oh, yeah, I'm on Las Vegas time. Which is about midday now. I think. I've never voted. I always vote. Always vote me. But yeah, before you go, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. Check out our socials: Twitter Let's Talk EPL, Instagram Let's Talk EPL _ and on TikTok at Let's Talk Premier League. You can find me on Twitter if you so wish at Niall _ PAFC. If you are a Hamilton fanboy, please do send me vile abuse in my DMs. I love to read them. And if you're not a Lewis fanboy, then, you know, all is good. Chris, where can they find you, though?
Find me on Twitter at ChrisWorld, CRC for obviously the mighty Carlisle United, and on YouTube as well as this at ChrisWorld, and yeah, Dom Nathan from Max Verstappen again, and he has one hand on the trophy, and you have to say Red Bull. You have to say Red Bull fans the chances now at the constructors as well.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Liam says, love to read, hate DMs. Geez, I don't mind them. You would be surprised at some of the DMs I have previously received. Not from you, obviously. But you would be somewhat surprised by some of the DMs that I've received in my DMs just for backing Max Verstappen and not Lewis Hamilton. None of which could be ever repeated on a live stream because I would have the channel taken down within seconds. So, yeah, they don't normally respond in live comments. So I wasn't having a dig at you. They normally watch it back later. Then I get the vile abuse. So you know.
But yes, see,
Yeah.
but yeah, yes, see how that certain person, like say, when he made a stupid comment saying, "I could kill Bottas."
Yeah.
Yeah, a very, very sensible comment. That unbelievable.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. The convertible goes, oh, makes sense. I think he thought he was on about I was on about him. Not quite. You don't send me vile abuse. Well, unless you do, to which you keep sending it, I guess. But I don't think you do. But no, they tend to watch it back and then I get the vile abuse. So I hopefully will have that vile abuse in my DMs before break time at work later tonight, so I can give me something to read over my break. So yeah. Liam says me and Niall have funny banter in DMs, to be fair. Do we? But on that note, I've got to go because I need to top up my coffee. But yeah, until next time, thanks for watching, guys, and peace out.